My name is Melanie. I'm one of the clinicians at Her Time Therapy. I'm excited to provide therapy to clients and be able to empower those that work with me to learn to cope with any symptoms that they may be experiencing and working through some life transitions. I've known ever since I was a little kid that it felt like it was my purpose to help others in some capacity. So originally I wanted to go into the medical field, and after college I took a gap year and I worked in a medical clinic for a year. I realized that my passions lied more with the clinical mental health counseling side of things rather than the physical, even though that is equally as important. I noticed that physicians only were able to spend 15 to 20 minutes with their patients, and I wanted to spend more than that time with the clients because I think it really gets to the crux of who the person is, and I would still be able to see the biological side of things should a client talk about what may be happening to them physically, socially, and psychologically. So it's more of a holistic, person-centered view that really drew me to the counseling field, just because I feel like I could have made more of an impact there. It can be scary. It can be very overwhelming because in my experience, it was, am I making the right choice? Financially, thinking about it in that aspect, like, am I able to manage that and stay afloat with like my finances? And I found that finding a really great support system is key, even if it's one person or even if it's your therapist. I think it's great to have someone in your corner to be like, this is what you're deciding to do. You've got this. It won't be the easiest at times, but if you know it in your heart to be, this is what you want, this is your truth, it's definitely worth it in the end. I love to orient my clients first. I like to acknowledge that it's going to feel weird, but I also want to inform them that it's a safe space. There's no judgment in this safe space. You may feel judgment towards yourself, but I'm there to guide you through that, right? So it's a matter of affirming clients, validating their emotions, acknowledging that it is weird to be talking to someone that you've never met before, especially over video session. It can feel a little bit odd, but I think it's just a matter of guiding the clients through that and checking in as well to make sure that this is the right place for them, this is the right fit, ensuring that what we're working on together is working, because that's what I'm here for, is just to guide clients to hit their goals and heal on their journeys. It can be intimidating, but I've been there too. Walking into my first session or even having my first teletherapy session with my therapist, I was like, this is a bit weird, but I think once I really allowed myself to just open up, that's where I felt the most healed, honestly, is when I allowed myself to trust my therapist. In terms of perfectionism, which can tie very much into anxiety and depression, as well as their past history. So any traumas that may be underlying that we would need to work through. And definitely big on life transitions. I have gone through many transitions from moving from my home state across the country for college, trying to figure out, okay, where do I go from here? I'm 1,500 miles from home. Can I make it? I've experienced heartbreak. So I love to work with people with relationship issues, communication issues. I've been there. I get it. Sometimes we may not even be aware of how we are showing up in the world, and having someone to help guide you through that. If you want to change a career, how do we lay that out? How do we work through some of that fear? How do we also bring in some logic so we can reduce anxiety around it, around those big choices? Life is just so complex. And so I just love to work with people and really managing everything that comes with those transitions in life. My approaches are primarily cognitive behavioral therapy, dialectical behavioral therapy, narrative therapy, and I do love to tailor my approach to clients because one size doesn't fit all. I'll connect with my clients towards the end of each session or even after every 2 or 3 sessions to say, hey, is this working? And if it's not, when we have that rapport built where I look to provide that space where you can just be honest because I'm here to help in your journey. And providing that feedback to me allows me to maybe even redirect just so we can ensure that all of the treatment goals are being hit. So if someone wants something that's more mindfulness based, I have the tools for that. If someone strictly does want to go through cognitive behavioral therapy modality techniques, I have those tools as well. But of course, if there's something that I think may be more useful as well, I'm definitely going to introduce that in sessions to see how the client feels about it. I know that not everyone likes the homework aspect of CBT and DBT. I always encourage my clients to try it because it really allows clients to gain that sense of empowerment and courage to trust themselves to say, hey, with these tools that I'm learning in session, I don't always have to just be in session to use them. I can practice them throughout the week in between sessions. So for me, it's really just about we're not one size fit all. We're not cookie cutters as humans. Um, my approach to feminism is very intersectional. So it's really taking that biopsychosocial aspect of who we are, a very holistic approach, and just really allowing us to identify like how are these social systems impacting us? How have they molded us to where we are today? And how can I empower you to one, identify it, two, work through it, and three, how do we move forward through these systems that are set in place that quite frankly can be very challenging, especially for women, especially as women. We really hold ourselves to such a high standard. And it's okay to ask for help when you may feel like you're at that breaking point, whenever you're ready to find that balance. I'm here to help guide you through that and empower you to make the best decisions for you and your journey.